Hi, welcome to Onward Shift podcasting. I want to start by saying to those that have followed us on our journey, thank you so much for tuning in weekly. It means the world to me that you have, and the support is much appreciated. And two, if this is your first time listening to the podcast, welcome aboard. I hope you take something away from today, and I genuinely hope you enjoy it. Now, over the last few podcasts, I've been freestyling it, which means there's no script, there's no notes, there's nothing in front of me right now, just a microphone. And I've had some really positive feedback from it because it comes across as so much more natural and people feel like they can get my personality more. And I feel like I'm going to take that feedback on board and be honest with you. I absolutely crap it when I do freestyling podcasts. There's nothing to rely on. There's no notes and things. So what I say comes from the heart. It's genuinely me speaking my mind, and I hope you enjoy this podcast as much as you've enjoyed the previous ones, and hopefully they are getting better by the week as well. Also, apologies in advance for the ums, the ahs, and the pauses. I'm really sorry. I am working on them, and they will get better over time. So just bear with me on them. But today I'm going to be talking about something that gets brought up quite a lot in my life, and I get asked this a few amount of times, and I think it's also quite a fun topic to talk about. It's a difficult conversation, but it's a good difficult conversation, and I hope it gives some insight to anyone who's looking to jump ship. I get quite passionate about this topic as well, so let's get into it. It's a four letter word, and it's not love, it's risk. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about risk. Now, like all my podcasts, they're from their personal opinion. They're everything that I'm going to speak about is through personal experience or just my opinion about stuff. So it is a bit debatable, and I'm always happy for people to leave feedback. So please do, and you can leave the feedback at journey@onwardshift.com. So yeah, thank you so much for that if you do choose to do that. Now, I get asked this question all the time. Is it worth leaving a company to start a business? And that question seems to always stress me out a bit. Like, it's quite a stressful, hard question to answer for anyone, I think. So I'm going to try it and explain it the best I can. I'm going to start with saying maybe. God, I hate that word maybe. So much uncertainty there. But the reason I've used that word is I've been deliberate about that. I've been deliberate because it is a maybe. It depends on your personal circumstances whether or not you can jump ship from a job with a company to starting your own. Also, I'm hoping it helps you on this podcast helps you understand it's not easy starting a company. It's really, really, really hard. Like, how many times have I seen online get rich quick schemes? Work hard for 6 months, work a couple of hours a day, and you'll be rich. Like, honestly, they just don't exist. I'm really sorry to break it to those who believe in them. Get rich quick schemes, they're there for people to spend money rather than make money. Now, I don't know anyone I've ever met in my entire life who has got, to be honest with you, even made minimum wage with one of those things. And bearing in mind, in the last couple of months alone, I've probably met over 200 plus people, and a lot of them are entrepreneurs, business owners. And you hear the same story consistently. It's hard. There's challenges. Is it worth it? You hear this consistently through entrepreneurs. So to answer this question in the best way I possibly can is, I think if you're considering jumping ship from a job that is paying you a salary, You get holiday pay, sick pay, pension. You may even get other perks like gym memberships, healthcare, cycle to work schemes, all of these things, and you have no savings, but you have a mortgage to pay, electricity to pay. You may have childcare or dependents that are reliant on you. Then I know it's going to be harsh, but I don't think you're in a position to jump ship and start a company. Because what people don't tell you about starting a company, which I will be honest about, is it's really expensive to start a company. Now, I know there's loads of people out there. I think Shopify even said, oh, you can start a company for the same price as a coffee a day or something ridiculous. Well, yes, maybe. But to start your own company, you're also going to need, again, this is just my experience, but you're going to need a domain. You're potentially going to need a hosting site for your website. You're going to also need insurances. You're going to need a website developer. You're going to most likely need trademarking, which takes quite a while to get your head around as well. You're going to need so many other things. You need an accountant. And as the company even slightly grows, you're going to want to get materials. Maybe even if you've got a product business, you may need to speak to manufacturers. You're going to need a considerable amount of startup costs with most companies, be it small or big. So if you haven't got savings, and I'm talking minimum 3 to 6 months savings, then starting a company is going to be really, really challenging. To make money in your first month that will cover your salary, which you had at your job, is potentially unrealistic thinking. Don't get me wrong, there's probably people out there who do that, but you don't really know their whole story. They might have had that as a side hustle for 3 years before they've actually finally jumped ship, but they didn't tell you about those 3 years that they worked, 16-hour days. So don't always be fooled by what you see on wherever you see it. But that does bring me good into the next point. Now, if you've got this great idea and you've got this drive to make this change and like create this vision and make it a reality, I also don't think you should sit on that. That's where risk comes in. That's where risk comes in for me. The risk of losing that fire in my belly to not pursue something that I really, really believe in and I think it's just going to help people and it's going to be game changing. Now, that's a risk I'm not willing to lose, or a dream I'm willing to not pursue. So what I would do, and most employers will hate me for saying this, but hey ho, at the end of the day, I'm here to just give my personal opinion, is I'd work a 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 or whatever hours you have to work for that employer, and I wouldn't not do a good job for them. I would turn up every day, I would work hard, I would be consistent in the work I deliver, and it will be to the highest standard I can deliver it. But when I get home, I'll be focusing on my company. Whatever company your dream is to have or create, I'd be focusing on that consistently. For me, again, everyone's different, but for me personally, if I've got my eyes set on something, I won't sleep. Like, you'll find if you email me at 2 o'clock in the morning, don't be surprised if you get a response, because I'm up consistently thinking of new ideas, pursuing new goals, chasing new visions and stuff like that. And that is the entrepreneur life. There is no 8 to 5, by the way. It is, you work really, really hard throughout the day. And then at night time, it's actually really nice because not many people will email you and you can actually get through a list of stuff that you wouldn't get through in your normal daytime because everyone's, working at that time. So I hope, to clarify that, I hope you've got something from that, is if you don't have savings, I personally wouldn't start a company because companies do eat through money like there's no tomorrow. 2, if you do have a bit of savings, make sure you have enough to financially cover yourself for a considerable amount of time. 3, if you've got a good job and you've got this vision that you really, really, really want to start, then pursue it, but call it a side hustle. I don't really like that word side hustle. Let's call it pursue your passion. Side hustle so like such a generic word, and I think it's been overused. But anyway, sorry, sidetracked there a bit. We'll come back onto the point. But yeah, those are the three key things I would definitely advise you to do. I think there's so many key things that involve that risk worthy, and I think that is one of them. If you've got a passion, if you've got a goal, if you've got a drive to do something, you should most definitely always do it, because if that fuels your fire, then that opportunity you just don't want to risk losing. I think that would be, for me, I couldn't not do that. So yeah. Now, I get asked another question when I was employed, because I was employed for many, 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 many years, and I used to do quite a lot of job hopping. I think that's the right word. And what that means is I'd start at one job and I will then move on to the next job quite quickly. I'd say within 1 to 2 years, I would be looking for new opportunities, or new opportunities would come looking for me, because I never closed doors on them. Now, it was very debatable if that was the right thing to do. But for me, I've got ADHD and I've got OCD. So my ADHD didn't really allow me to be a part of a team for a very long period of time. In fact, I quite frankly didn't like the routine. I didn't like being in the same place for too long. Building relationships were really, really challenging for me. So most of my career, believe it or not, I was very, very isolated. I I worked by myself. I'd say 90% of my career, I'd be completely by myself, with support on the phone, or the occasional manager swinging by to see how I'm getting on. But other than that, I really enjoyed being by myself. I thrived in that. So it gave me lots of opportunities, because I'd start at a job and I'd really enjoy it, and I'd blitz through all the work that I was given, and then it got to a stage where it got boring, because every day was the same day. I'd go to a job and I'd do that job, then I'd go off to the next job, and become too routine, and an opportunity would arise and I would take it. Now, the debatable thing is, well, you never build your CV. People don't think you're um, going to stick around, etc., etc. Well, the truth is, I didn't stick around, and nobody really cared about my CV, because as soon as I got in the interview room, they saw that I was really passionate about what I did, and it never really got questioned why I'm leaving. It was more, how quickly can you jump on board? So if I was, so again, everyone's in different circumstances, but if I was in a job and I got offered another job, there's that whole question of, you don't know if the grass is greener on the other side. Yes, that's very true, but you also don't know what you don't know. And for me, that risk, as long as it wasn't, taking a humongous pay cut, I think 99% of the time I'd take that risk, because I'm so curious to know what is on the other side. It could be better, it could be 10 times worse, but that's okay. You make the most out of every situation in life, and worst case scenario, absolute worst case scenario, I'd have to stick out that job for until the next one comes along, which could be 3 months down the line, or it could be the week after. So again, for me, that's a risk worth taking. Um, so yeah, that's my opinion on jumping from job to job. I don't also, in this day and age, I don't also think people care as much as they did 20 years ago. I just don't think people really care. I think it's all about the company, what the company offers. One of the things that I always looked for in a company was, do they allow independence in staff? Do they listen to staff's opinions? Do they take on board what their staff have to say? And are managers approachable? And if those boxes were ticked, for me, they worked with my personality. So, you know, if the opportunity was there, I would take it. Now, There's two variables there from going from to opening a company, and then there's going from job to job. Now, I want to go back quickly and talk about entrepreneurship because I really love talking about entrepreneurship. Like, it's one of my passions because I think it allows people to pursue their dreams. And I think there's so many incredible ideas out there that just haven't been heard because they're too scared to run with these visions. If you're that person who's at home and my partner's friend says this, and it always makes me laugh. He says, I've got loads of tabs open in my head. Well, if you're that type of person where you're like, you go to work, but you come home and you think about all these new things you can create and do, then please don't sit on it too long. Write it down. Create this. I've always believed that if you've got thoughts in your head and you write them down, they start to become real. They start feeling real. Write down all these thoughts, write down all these ideas, write down all these dreams and ambitions and goals. And again, it may not even be starting a company, it may be to find your perfect job, but take that risk in writing it down and finding time, even if it's just 5-10 minutes a day. It could be on the train journey to work, it could be your lunch break, it could be 15 minutes before bed, or waking up 15 minutes early just to jot these thoughts down. Just do it. Or even pull out your phone and, write in your notes a couple of good ideas you've had on a potential walk or in a meeting or whatever it is. If, these ideas just spring to you, don't forget about them. Write them down somewhere and go back on them. And, soon you'll see that you've actually probably got a whole business plan ready for you. You just got to fine tune it. If you've got these dreams and these ambitions, I really, really hope you pursue them, because it's the worst feeling in the world, wanting to do something and then later in life going, damn it, I wish I did it. But again, these are all just my opinions, and I love entrepreneurship. It's so fun. It's super, super, super stressful. No joke, no lies. It is super stressful, but I love it personally, and I think everyone has a bit of entrepreneurship in them. And sometimes it's just been hidden away, and it's hard to get it out of that person. But everyone's got that fire in them, and I'd like to believe they do anyway. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. It's been really fun talking about this, and I'm really, really passionate about it, and I love talking about it. If there's any feedback you have on this, I would absolutely love to hear it. Please ping us an email at journey@onwardshift.com, and I'll always respond to feedback. Anytime, you feel like you want to share your thoughts, or maybe you have an idea that you want to speak about, or you want me to speak about, just ping them all into the email, and I'd absolutely love to go through it with people. And please don't feel like I'm one of those people who don't take constructive criticism on board. I'm very comfortable with that, because that's how I personally grow and learn. And the more I grow and learn, the better service I can provide those that are listening and tuning into other platforms on Onward Shift. So thank you so much for tuning in. My last two points will be, sorry, is one, if you've got a story that you'd like to share and you would want to be a guest on our podcast, then on our website, on the podcasting page, there's a little form at the bottom of the 7 podcasts uploaded or 8 podcasts uploaded. Just ping in your details, share a brief description of your story, and I'll be back in touch with you. So yeah, please do that. And 2, I'd like the opportunity just to quickly talk about Onward Shift, because Onward Shift isn't just a podcasting platform. Onward Shift is so, so, so much more. Now, although we're the new kids on the block, if you like, and we've only been going for a couple of months or a few months, basically Onward Shift is coaching. So we have 6 different divisions in coaching with specialist coaches in that division. For example, business, career, life, ADHD, relationships, and nutrition. And we're potentially thinking of opening more sectors in the future. We have 12 accountability groups on WhatsApp, and they range from cleaning to fitness. So please feel free to check them out on the website. We also have these weekly podcasts, which we're going to be having guests on very soon. I'm having some super interesting conversations with people about that. We've also got weekly events in Colchester, in Essex. We have two of the three products that have gone live now, which is a journal and a hoodie. And we've got a calendar in design as we speak. And we've also got blogs. So as you can see, Onward Shift isn't just podcasting. There's so much more. And I promise you, this is just the beginning of the journey. I can't wait to see where we end up in a couple of months' time, and then a year's time, etc. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed this, and we look forward to the next one. Thank you so much.